Yes, prices for PCR swab tests are being discussed by the public. The reason is that India has lowered the price of PCR tests to become the cheapest in the world. So what about the PCR test rates in Indonesia? Let's check the answer in the following infographics, and let's move to the first graphic. So we can see the PCR swab test tariff. The government's decision on maximum tariff of PCR tests before tariff cuts at 750,000 rupiah up to 900,000 rupiah. And after the government cuts the tariff for Java Bali regions is 495,000 rupiah, and outside Java and Bali regions 525,000 rupiah. The price of the PCR test has decreased by 45% from the previous price. Thus, the PCR test rate limit, which had previously been set through the circular of the Director General of Health Services on October 2020, is declared no longer valid. The Ministry of Health stated that the highest tariff limit does not apply to contact tracing activities or referrals for COVID-19 cases to hospitals whose operations receive PCR examination assistance from the government or are part of the COVID-19 patient financing guarantee. Regarding the reduction in test rates, what is the real reason behind this decision? Let's move on to the next graphic to see the reasons. So the reasons for cutting PCR test rates, the government stated that the first reason is the price of reagents and medical consumables has gone down as one of the components of each PCR test rates. And the second reason is to encourage people to carry out self-testing for COVID-19. As we know, if the price is quite expensive, people intend to not do the self-testing for COVID-19. The Financial and Development Supervisory Agency, or BPKP, revealed that BPKP was asked for assistance in evaluating the maximum tariff limit for the PCR test because there was a decrease in the price of several components, so that the regulation regarding the highest reference price needed to be adjusted. Even though it has been reduced, a number of hospitals and clinics in Jakarta still apply PCR rates that are higher than the upper limit rates set by the government. Some of the reasons include the cost of consulting a doctor as well as the speed with which the results are issued. Whereas the Ministry of Health emphasized that clinics and hospitals are prohibited from charging additional fees for any reason. But yes, conditions in the field are often not as expected, right? And talking about the COVID-19 test, how high is the daily testing rate in Indonesia? The data is in the next graphic. Let's see the data. So we can see from the last 7 days, from 11 August 2021, the COVID-19 daily test in Indonesia is 135.5 thousand tests. And then on the next day, 136.3 thousand daily tests in Indonesia. And we moved to the 16 August 2021, well, the testing was quite low at 78.4 thousand and 78.6 thousand on 18 August 2021. And spokespersons for the COVID-19 vaccination of the Ministry of Health, Siti Nadia Tarmizi, admitted that the number of testing and tracing of close contacts of COVID-19 cases was still far from the target. Nadia said each province has a testing target that must be achieved, so that the number of testing should be increased. In addition, the ministry is integrating all COVID-19 examination laboratories in Indonesia in the new all-record or NAR system. This is because some people who have tested for COVID-19 in private laboratories are not known to be confirmed positive or not, because the data is not included in the NAR system of the Ministry of Health. This is, of course, an obstacle that must be overcome. And regarding the lowering of the PCR test rate, is the tariff in Indonesia affordable enough? Let's compare it with several other Southeast Asian countries in the next graphic. So PCR test rates in Southeast Asian countries, in Thailand, is around 1.3 rupiah, and then Singapore, 1.6 million rupiah, Malaysia, 510,000 rupiah, Philippines, 437,000 up to 1.5 million rupiah, while in Vietnam, it's around 460,000 rupiah. So UK-based aviation services consulting agency Skytrax compares the prices of PCR tests in 70 countries around the world. Skytrax noted that there was a difference of the $395 or around 5.07 million rupiah between the most expensive and the cheapest PCR prices in various countries in the world. The agency also reported that Kansai International Airport in Japan is the airport with the most expensive PCR test price in the world, which is around $404 or 4.82 million rupiah. Meanwhile, Mumbai Airport is the airport with the cheapest PCR test price, which is only 115,000 rupiah. And of course, the government must not only cut the PCR test rates, but also try to break the chain of COVID-19 transmission as much as possible and ensure that the vaccination program runs according to the target. And stay tuned on Market Headlines. We'll be right back after this quick break.